Hi, this is Eric Stoller for the Eric Stoller Show and the Patient Zero series. We're here back at Gentera with Brian Pla, CEO of Gentera and the Center for Regenerative Medicine and Plastic Surgery. Brian, thanks for being here. So great to be here. Your facility is fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Got a chance to meet your two amazing doctors. And so before we get into it, how did you have the vision to create this amazing clinic and facility?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for coming today, and obviously thanks for Abby and all the great things you guys are doing with AI Wellness as well. It's interesting. Like I say, I'm not a medical practitioner. I only play one on podcasts or on TV, right? So, but I really came into this as a patient. About 12 years ago, I had my first stem cell treatment down in Mexico. Actually, Dr. Gonzalez, who's our chief science officer over our other company with Juvexo, he had said, hey, I need a product, or I need some guinea pigs basically to do a study down in Mexico with MMA fighters testing a couple things: recovery and also blood doping, which is an important component of performance athletes. So after going down there, I didn't know what a stem cell was. I saw the benefits after just one treatment. It really piqued my interest and my knowledge. And Dr. Gonzalez has been great, really educating me on the space, and I started to become more and more interested. Then about 18 months after that, I had stem cells injected into my knee after an old ACL injury. And for me, that was what put it over the top. 4 months after that, I'm playing basketball again.
Wow.
And because all the options I had, I was 35 at the time, all the options I had then were really not viable. It was, a little physical therapy, do this surgery, that surgery, you're going to be a knee replacement candidate. I'm like, whoa, that just I wasn't comprehending that. So I really went into looking for what the better alternative was, and it led me to regenerative medicine, stem cells, etc. But it's so much more of a broader space than just one treatment or another, right? Why stem cells and exosomes and all these are great treatment modalities, they're only as good as the foundation. They're only as good as being able to get to the root cause of the problem, right? And that's what we harp at here at Gentera. We do very extensive diagnostics from both blood work to imaging. And from there, we create a baseline for the patient, identifying two things. We're identifying their deficiencies and their goals, right? Because you could come to me and you could say, hey, I'm looking to address A, B, or C. But when we get your blood work and we get your diagnostics back, we may see that there's other issues that need to be addressed immediately. And usually the combination of the two is what defines what we offer here, which is precision medicine. Yes, we're focusing on regenerative, but it's really precision, personalized to what you need, what I need, what the patient needs. And I think this is where medicine needs to go. And I think we're in the start of a positive revolution in the healthcare space, which is turning it from disease management to root cause medicine and personalizing treatments where not everybody's getting the same off the shelf.
Yes, and having some of the conversations, I think, with some of your doctors is that they are focused, whether it's concierge, whether it's, as your medical director, Dr. Adonis, was sharing with me, on how it's totally customizable for each individual patient. And I love the fact that you're dealing with the root cause versus just managing disease. There's so many people walking around with issues. So that's truly amazing. And so I know you also have here, you also do surgery, you do plastic surgery. Share us a little bit about the kind of surgeries that you're doing here.
Well, we have a full plastic surgery center, so we're registered with the Board of Medicine. We have 3 great surgeons at the moment. They kind of specialize in different aspects, from face to body. Right now, high definition liposculpture is a big deal. Kind of getting the abs, especially in South Florida summertime. So that's becoming. So we have specialists on that. And again, even on the plastic surgery side, yes, everyone comes in with what they initially want. But it's our doctor's job, our surgeon's job, to see the patient, and every canvas is different, right? Like if you look at the statue of David, no sculpture wanted to carve that, but Michelangelo saw it for what it was, and we saw that it became a masterpiece in history. Right. Same thing here. So it's really to look through what that is, and the surgeon will sculpture the ideal image, and many times superseding or surpassing what the patient imagined.
Wow, that's truly amazing. So if somebody wants to find out how they can either connect with your regenerative staff, your concierge, or they want to get more information on surgery, how do they go about doing that?
Well, fortunately, we have Gentera Center for Plastic Surgery and Gentera Center for Precision Medicine. We have great VIP patient coordinators on both sides, so they could reach us at either one of our Instagrams. Give us a DM, or they could email us, fill out a form. We will contact you, set up a consultation with the physician, depending on which side, and from there we will get the consultation. Like I said, address your deficiencies and your goals, get the labs running, or get you ready for surgery. And the important thing is that surgery is not just the day of surgery, right? So many people think I just go, I get the surgery, and I'm done. No,
sure.
We start our patients weeks, sometimes months before.
Wow.
Whether they have to lose weight, whether we have to get them in a better immune condition. No one's really doing that. Many of these plastic surgery centers are just find a patient, operate, and then they don't continue also. Then after the surgery, it's the follow-up. It's helping them recover. We have a hyperbaric chamber here.
Wow.
We do red light therapy, massages, all the things to help improve the outcome of the surgery. And that is really what sets Gentera apart.
That's phenomenal. And of course, we know all those therapies have a big part in speeding up the healing
Correct.
process. And depending on who you're dealing with, some take longer than others, age, other factors. And so I know you also have another amazing company. And I know with AI Wellness, you have an exclusive relationship with your exosome company. And so share us a little bit about Juvexco and a little bit about what you're doing and the different ways you're using the exosomes to treat patients.
And that's a great question, because with the exosomes, we've really seen the exosome space get flooded over the last couple of years, because it's becoming mainstream in the cosmetic space. Because really, cosmetics is the only vehicle or the only way that you could currently apply exosomes given the regulatory landscape. So Juvexco was the first company that has always played in the compliant arena. We designed our product, we manufactured our product for the cosmetic space. Anyone that tells you exosomes are exosomes, they're wrong. Not all exosomes are created equal, just like not all stem cells are created equal. Our exosomes come from a stem cell line. There's a mesenchymal stem cell line that is currently part of multiple clinical trials with the FDA.
Wow.
We've been in the cell therapy space since 2007. We've done over 30 INDs, whether primary or emergency INDs with the FDA. Our cells have been tested for every virus. We've done all the genetic testing to assure that there's no genetic aberrations. No other company can say that they've gone to that extent. We've invested over $30 million in our R&D over time.
Wow.
Again, not something that which means that our bar is set that much higher, because we have way more on the line. So we really are trying to educate and break that premise that it's, what's the exosome count, or how many exosomes do you have? And I always say, you know how many I have? I have infinity minus one, because that's not the point. The point is focusing really on the secretome, which is all of the other teammates that the exosomes are partnered with to deliver the intended application. And since we knew that we wanted to go cosmetic with this, our product is very rich in hyaluronic acid, collagen type 1, type 3, elastin, all the ingredients you would want in an exosome product for a cosmetic application. So when you see that, and you see that it's not that we added it, is that we got it to secrete that. That is years of science and R&D that allowed us to get to that point. And I think as the practitioners are starting to get more educated and filtering the noise, I think you're starting to see us get bumped further and further to the top, because I said I never want to lead with my sales and marketing. I want to lead with my science. You could always put out a flashy publication.
Of course.
But I'm here for the long run, and I think that's how we've done it.
Yeah, and I think that's really great, because the validity of your product, as you said, there's so many companies that are popping up.
Correct.
They all say there's the best. I know every one of that comes in, we're the best, we're the best. And I know that AI Wellness wouldn't have created an exclusive partnership with you if they know they weren't the best in the industry. So talk about some of the applications where somebody is going to get an exosome treatment. I know we briefly touched on it, but share with, because I don't think most people would know. Maybe they're thinking it's a joint or something, but there's many, because you're using it for cosmetic surgery.
Correct. So it's primarily a topical cosmetic, where a lot of our practitioners will apply it with microneedling, basic microneedling, whether you're doing the face or the hair. We're also doing it with radio frequency microneedling, a procedure such as Morpheus, for instance. We're also applying it after any sort of a laser, whether it's an ablative laser or whatnot, really minimizing the downtime that these procedures are causing. Because when you get a laser, you're sloughing off that top layer of the skin, which opens you up for two things: obviously infection and irritation. So our exosomes also secrete a peptide called LL37, which is a really big antimicrobial, antibacterial peptide. So it helps with acne, fighting off infection. Again, something that not any of these other products have, because they've been so focused on just exosomes. I always give the analogy, if I put LeBron James on the court by himself to play a 1-on-5, for as good as he is, he's probably not gonna win, because
That's right.
It's a team game. It's who you pit LeBron with that's going to give him the best, and that chemistry, that dynamic, it's what's going to pit the product for success, and that's what we've done.
That is phenomenal. So again, if somebody wanted to find out more about the stem cells, whether they're a practitioner, they want to use it for their own clinic, or a patient, how do they go about doing that?
Well, very simply, you go to juvexo.com. That's JUVEXO.com, and we have a contact form on there. Also, you can go to our Instagram page, which is juvexo_official, and you could go and see some of the before and afters, which are really impressive. We're also working a lot. We launched a new product recently for hair, which is having amazing results. So we're working with Dr. Bauman and a lot of the other top hair specialists in the country that, again, they're really artists in their game. Yes. And they have gravitated to our product, not because of my pretty marketing brochures, but because of my outcome.
And that really has a lot to do with it, because I think some people are either trying to save money, or they think, again, it's really about how powerful and how good the product is. And then let's talk about this relationship with AI Wellness and Abby and her team. So share me a little bit about your relationship with AI Wellness. Obviously, we have one of the mirrors in your lobby. Yep. But talk to us a little bit how you're going to implement this with your staff and your team to really help, improve awareness and drive your business.
Well, again, first of all, amazing job that Abby and the AI Wellness team, really visionary in terms of setting this out, putting this hardware out in so many of these medical practices. Because just like I was telling Abby earlier, our practice is built multi-specialty where it all feeds each other. So she's really creating a network of many specialties and many practices throughout the country that should all benefit from that referral source and that base. And the more patients that are fed into that, I think the better that this community will grow and not depend on an outside or a message that is meant to drive you towards a traditional healthcare model. Really, where these patients could understand, where do I go to get something that's going to help me? And so, kudos to her. And clearly, we were an early adopter of this technology. We saw the opportunity. Dr. Gonzalez has known Abby, for a long time, and really said, look, this is something we should take a look at. And immediately, I'm always looking for new technology and new products to develop and get out to the market. But it's not just that, it's getting out the message in unique and novel ways and tying, how do I get to as much of the market as possible? And I think that they've done that. So we really want to onboard ourselves and get this into our other practitioners' hands. Because when you come into the lobby and you have a touch screen and you have a good video playing and you have the digital avatar informing the patient about this product, they're not going to go to anything else.
No, absolutely.
And I have a captive audience, and all of our practitioners do as well. And the biggest issue sometimes is relaying that information. You can't talk sometimes to every patient for a long amount of time. So if I have the captive audience, whether it's in my lobby, in my IV lounge, wherever it may be, I have that opportunity. So I really think that they're on the verge of doing great as this starts to really saturate through the market. And I'm just happy to be a part of that. And I know I'm going to benefit from this relationship.
Awesome. I think that's tremendous. And, a lot of it is, like you were saying earlier, it's about education.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people, as we talked about traditional medicine, we get a pill, we see if it works, we prevent things, or we're just maintaining, versus now we're talking about changing, people's lives and helping them just live a better quality of life.
It's all about the quality of life. Now you're hearing people talk more about health span than lifespan.
That's right.
Which is the quality of life, right? It's living 80 to 100 as a rock star, not 125 sitting on a rocker.
That's right. And it's so true. And And again, a lot of people, I believe it's a mindset. And you said something from the beginning before we wrap up. I don't know, Abby talks about an AI wellness with all her practitioners. What's your goals? So we find out what our patients' goals are, whatever they want to achieve in their life, or what their life looks like right now. How do we help them get more control, of that? And I commend both. I commend you and your team, because I know Dr. Adonis was saying there's a lot of busy executives and they're all stressed out, and they need to take a pause for a minute so they can get in control of their health, so they can keep working their 12 and 14-hour days and be optimized.
Completely, and we're really seeing that. I mean, a lot of the growth in Gentera has been due to the need in the market. So we're really dialed into what the community is asking for us. And I think post-COVID, we saw, with the concierge primary care, where people just were tired of being treated like sheep, just
That's
waiting
right.
in this big waiting room. God knows when you're going to see your practitioner. How do I get access to him? What if I need a specialist to see a specialist? I have to wait 3 months. By then, it may be too late, or it may be irrelevant.
Who knows? Right.
Exactly. So I've never been conformed with the system. The system is also so slow to move that I think the more practices there are like us, and then more of these new practitioners, and I think part of what we could do with AI wellness is bring out a training platform, not just for patients, but for doctors.
Yes.
Because if this next wave of practitioners are educated to this type of medicine, you'll take your 8 years of med school for the basics, but then I'll take the next 8 years on the reality. And I think that's what's really going to turn healthcare on its head.
I agree with you. And the one thing that I love about what AI Wellness is doing, it's also allowing practice like your doctors to do what they do best, is to work with patients and not get themselves caught up in dealing all the day-to-day and the minutiae, which obviously is the business side. Right. But you see a lot of practices, they're running their front desk, they're shorthanded, they got to hire, but nobody taught you this in medical school, right? And then I run into a lot of practitioners at different biohacking conventions that say, I'm thinking about getting into this. I'm a family medicine. I have no idea what it's about, which blows me away. Yeah. So I agree with you on the education. Hey, let's do this. If somebody is serious about either coming to Gentera or they want to find more about Juvexco, give us the final word on why they need to take some action and take control of their health and their life.
Well, look, we've become so conformed with feeling okay. Let's really worry about feeling great, and no longer being satisfied with like, hey, you're great for 35, or you're great for 40. No, we should all want to feel great for a younger chronological age than we are. That's why we're measuring biological age versus chronological age. Biologically, you want to be as young as possible. We can't stop time from ticking on the calendar, but we can stop it at the cellular level.
There you go. So go ahead, check out the website, check out the Instagrams, get yourself an appointment. They can do an evaluation, a consultation to find out how they can help you here at Gentera, Center for Functional Medicine and Plastic Surgery. Gentera, the Center for Precision Medicine and Plastic Surgery.
Bingo.
There we go. I want to thank CEO Brian Plouffe for being here today. This is Eric Stoller on the Eric Stoller Show. On behalf of the Eric Stoller Show, Patient Zero, and AI Wellness, we want to thank you for your time and attention. This is Eric Stoller, wishing you the best for the Patient Zero series, and we'll see you real soon.